Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here again today. We've got some awesome information to share with you. We've got the December stats for real estate in Edmonton and reasons that you need to be looking at our real estate market. Before we get started, make sure you click on subscribe, click on the bell. We'd love to have you come and watch more of our videos as we produce these for you every single week. Jay, you were telling me all about the real estate stats from December. What's going on?
Hey, Josh. Yeah, it's been kind of a crazy month in December, really. The house prices have changed. So, as you can see here, Edmonton home prices are up, 6.2% in 2023. So, if we look at, the average price, 373,000, that's for all residential. So, that's all property types. That's up about 6% or so. Detached homes, we are up about 3.9% to 485,000. There's some interesting thoughts here, though, too. I was looking at Edmonton home price versus Calgary. There's a big difference. So for average, right, like we're at 373,000. Calgary is almost 50% higher. They're at 540,000. If we talk about detached home, we're at 485,000. Calgary, $734,000. That's about a $200 and almost $50,000 difference between the two cities. So Edmonton has certainly got a ways to go. We are rolling some momentum. When we talk about townhouses, these actually have been hot. They're a little bit harder to find, but 260,000 is the average price, up about 10% year over year, down about 4% for the month. But there's still definitely a hot commodity. We have moved into a real seller's market. So this month in December, we had 888 sales, about 1,029 new listings. So what we do, we're trying to figure out, are we in a buyer or seller's market? We do something called a ratio. So we try and figure out how many of the new listings, the new sales versus new listings, what percentage are they at, tells us where we're at. Typically, 60% is talking about a seller's market. In this case here, we're at 86%. We have a seller's market for sure, and we have a serious shortage of listings here in Edmonton. So sales to new listings, again, it's climbing, and we'll stay tuned for January to see what happens with this data. So that's what happened with our sales, I guess, in December for our market. The next slide here. Population growth is something else that we're facing, and that has a part of what we're seeing with inventory. So Alberta's population is exploding. It's the fastest growing in Canada, and it's interprovincial. So we're not even talking about, out of country immigration. It's like what's happening here. 17,000 people are moving from other parts of the country from July to September. We've had, I think it's 5 consecutive quarters in a row of at least 10,000 or more people that are moving, and it's a record. And so that's another thing that's really hammering down on our inventory and our supply is like there's so many people coming here. Obviously, Alberta has some really great jobs and some really good opportunities for these people that are migrating to Alberta. So that's really kind of on the real estate side what's happening. And then Josh, what do you got? Do you have any interest or any news for us on what's happening with interest coming up?
Absolutely. So while population growth is fueling a lot of the real estate activity in Edmonton and throughout Alberta, of course, one of the other things that can really help to fuel that activity is as interest rates start to come down, we're going to see more and more people returning to the market. And there's a lot of expectation that the Bank of Canada is going to start lowering their rate midway through this year. Some people think it might be as early as March or April. Most people think it'll happen by at least June. There is data to suggest that they should be doing that, and maybe they should be doing it sooner. We talk about GDP as a measure to determine whether or not the country is in recession. Now, we know that Alberta has the strongest economy in the country right now, and it has the highest household incomes in the country. But the country as a whole is what impacts the Bank of Canada. And we have now seen over the last 20 years, you see GDP, it's growing generally. There's a couple times when COVID first hit or when the subprime mortgage crisis hit the global markets in 2008. There's some drops, but otherwise it tends to head up, and that's what we want to see. This graph is per capita, which means the GDP per person, and we want to see that growing. But we have had a lot of immigration into the country. So Canada's population is growing. The estimated population is actually over 40 million now. And if we look over the last 9 years here or so, since 2015, you see a nice general steady upward trend up until COVID, a big dip, a quick recovery. But for the last 5 quarters in a row, that per capita GDP has been heading downward just a little bit. And that is concerning. So while it's not recession, it is enough that it should concern the Bank of Canada and should add to the reasons that the Bank of Canada will start to decrease its interest rates going forward. So that's what we're expecting on an interest rate side. Of course, as interest rates go down, we're going to expect to see more sales happening. And, there's more reasons than just housing to move to Edmonton.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. So it's kind of fun to watch the Oilers. They're crushing it here. 11 wins, last 14 games. It's a great city to be in and watching our NHL team. They are just doing awesome. It's been really fun to watch them coming back at it. Trade deadline is coming. It's going to be interesting if they make any moves. Great game last night. A couple goals called back, but that's all right. We still came away with a win. So, you know what? They're going to be coming back home here soon. And I guess we're going to see what happens with our market as we continue to watch the Oilers as well. I think they're both going to crush it going into the spring.
So there we've got it. Edmonton's a great place to be, a great place to call home, and a great place to have a home. So looking forward to chatting with y'all. Make sure you click on like and subscribe for the video here, and look forward to seeing you next time.